Hey, what's up YouTube? It's ICU, and in today's video we have something very exciting to discuss. A new jailbreak of sorts has been released for iOS 10.1.1, but as stated in the title of this video, this is for technical users only. So individuals like myself or you guys will not be able to take advantage of this yet, but this may very well be, and it almost certainly will be, the foundation of a new jailbreak that could be released soon for iOS 10.1.1. In fact, this thing basically is a jailbreak, so huge thumbs up for that. Also, before we get into this, huge shout out to Black Geek Tutorial. His channel will be linked below. I bounced some ideas off him for the analysis found in today's video. I'm going to tell you guys absolutely everything you need to know related to this, and toward the end I'm also going to talk about what this could mean and how this could be the foundation of a new jailbreak for the public that again is usable by the public. Because right now, even though it is released, it's only really for technical users. Again though, it could be the groundwork for the first public iOS 10 jailbreak. While Pangu undoubtedly has their sights set on iOS 10.1.x, we already have something that could turn into a jailbreak for an earlier firmware. Even if you were to get it to work though as a non-technical user, which is actually pretty simple just by utilizing Xcode, the steps are fully listed on what I'm about to show you guys, you wouldn't notice any significant difference because there isn't Cydia, and of course none of the packages or deb files that we're accustomed to installing or obtaining through Cydia will function on iOS 10. So this is definitely the beginning, but it's also very exciting. So let's go ahead and open up Safari, and we're just going to navigate to this URL right here. Now essentially this has been published by Ian Beer of Google. He works for the Google Project Zero team. And really quick, to give you guys some background information, let's go ahead and switch on over here. Project Zero is the name of a team of security analysts employed by Google tasked with finding zero-day exploits, and it was announced on the 15th of July 2014. So essentially what they're doing is they're white hat hackers that are trying to find zero-day or previously undisclosed vulnerabilities. They then pass these vulnerabilities on to companies, in this case Apple, who then patches them in new firmware releases. In fact, when we go ahead and switch on over here to the security contents of iOS 10.2, you'll notice that all of the exploits that are actually utilized in this technical jailbreak have already been patched in iOS 10.2, and guess who discovered them? Ian Beer of Google's Project Zero. And when we go ahead and do a search for project, you'll notice that here we go, these vulnerabilities have been named and patched in 10.2, discovered by Ian Beer of Google Project Zero. So for a fee, these guys have passed along these exploits for Apple to patch. They're white hat hackers, but this guy's taken it a step further and essentially created a technical jailbreak of sorts for iOS 10.1.1, the last public firmware before iOS 10.2 is released this week. And you notice here at the bottom that it says there are 6 different references. So we can actually scroll through this. That was the first exploit there. We have another one right here, or the first vulnerability rather. So these first 4 are all kernel vulnerabilities. As you can see here, they are listed as such under Apple security changes for iOS 10.2. And then we have one affecting power management, also discovered by Ian Beer, and one last security vulnerability that has been closed in 10.2. Now, when we go ahead and switch back over here to his write-up, he only makes mention of 5 exploits being utilized to create this technical jailbreak. So let's quickly touch on this and get into additional information on what he's actually done before we kind of wrap things up and discuss how this could actually impact us in the future. So let's go ahead and scroll down here, because the most important thing is right here where it says read this first. He says, quote, if you do not have an iPod Touch 6G running 10.1.1 or an iPad Mini 2 running 10.1.1, this project will not work out of the box. You will need to fix up a couple of offsets. See the section further down, adding support for more devices. So essentially he only has those 2 devices to test with, and even though these exploits will function across all devices on 10.1.1, he hasn't implemented the device offsets for anything other than those 2 devices. So additional work and testing would undoubtedly be required before anything sees the light of day as a public release. Next, further down, we do have the build instructions, and it does make mention of Xcode Xcode version 8.1 or higher. Now, this is something that is doable if you have Xcode. However, as I mentioned, because it doesn't come bundled with Cydia and because it's not really a full-fledged jailbreak in the sense that we are used to, meaning it actually comes with Cydia or a graphical user interface of sorts to install other things like third-party tweaks and packages, this really isn't applicable to us just yet, but it's so very close to being applicable that I definitely recommend being on iOS 10.1.1 if at all possible. Again, you guys should downgrade to 10.1.1, and as I've been saying throughout my latest jailbreak update videos, don't update, just stay on as low of a firmware as possible, because there is always still a chance that something like this could come into fruition and that we could get a jailbreak for an earlier firmware, in this case, potentially 10.1.1. However, because Pangu is definitely focused on iOS 10.2, it's uncertain whether their jailbreak will precede anything that may eventually come of this. If that's the case, then we could actually get a jailbreak for iOS 10.2.x sooner than anything we receive from Ian Beer's work at Project Zero. And of course, that's where the jailbreak updates come into play. Just be sure to click that subscribe button below next to my channel name to ensure that you don't miss out. I'm going to keep you guys notified anytime anything happens in the realm of iOS and or jailbreaking. And at this point, you might be wondering, if this doesn't install Cydia, how the heck is it a jailbreak? What does it actually do? Now that's a great question. Essentially, it allows you to run any code outside of the sandbox with root privileges, which is absolutely key. It also patches ANIMEFAN, an iOS service, of course, developed by Apple to essentially restrict binaries from running unless they're signed. So unsigned binaries can now be executed if a device is exploited using this technical jailbreak of sorts. Okay guys, so that is absolutely fantastic. Essentially, again, that means that this could be polished up and molded into a legitimate jailbreak for public release. As I mentioned, I will keep you guys updated anytime anything happens in the realm of jailbreaking. And on the topic of that, hacker Luca Todesco, who has definitely contributed to the jailbreak community in the past, he has aided Pangu with several exploits previously, tweeted out that, quote, "There is a high chance I will take up whatever Project Zero drops and write a full jailbreak on top of it. Stay on 10.1.1, especially on i7 or iPhone 7. So there's no doubt that Luca Todesco has trolled us in the past a countless number of times. He, of course, always flaunts what he's been working on and shows us new jailbreaks that, of course, we can never receive. But this time, who knows? It could be different. I mean, he has been helpful and he has aided the jailbreak community previously, so we'll just have to wait and see. That's why I mentioned that at the end though, because of course, it's definitely an uncertain variable at this point. But like I said, I'll let you guys know anytime anything happens, whether Luca Todesco updates this or someone else entirely. Who knows, maybe Pangu could even enter the fray where this is concerned and finish it up for us while they work on another jailbreak for a later iOS 10 firmware, hopefully 10.2.x. Stay tuned for updates, just like me on Facebook, and follow me on Twitter for even more frequent updates. And until next time, this is ICU signing out.